Another fantastic Wednesday here on the Central Coast. Minutes after 6 bells, we are here each and every week from 6 to 7 to do just that. We're here to live the run. We do that every week, talking health and fitness. Let's get started. Big day today. Rex Stevens in studio, solo at the moment, but looking to welcome in new chiropractor to the area, Dr. Aram Casparian. We're going to talk backpack safety here on a Wednesday night when so many of you are in your cars and you've either just finished up back to school night, you're on your way, somewhere in between. Little backpack safety, it's something that just seems to kind of go missed along the way. We had Dr. Aram Casparian wrote an article in the Tolosa Press just this last week, and one of the things he kind of noted on right off the bat there is we think about lunches, we think about sleep, we think about what our kids are wearing, do they have the school supplies? But oftentimes we forget about one of the basic things that almost every kid wears, and that's a backpack. And there's a reason why so many kids, even starting in elementary school, start complaining about back pain. So that's one of our big topics today. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about certain trends, little tips to get our kids' postures going and get them in a better way. I saw a couple high school girls today in the clinic getting in for chiropractic adjustments. And in just a few days, these girls have already noticed significant changes in their posture just from the increases in sitting. We've harped on this a bunch on this show. We will continue to harp on it until it changes. I shared with them many places in Europe, many places still around the world spend most of their time educating in a standing position. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about those changes. But again, we reference an article written just last month, Is Sitting the New Smoking? The ramifications that we're seeing physiologically, metabolic shutdown, digestive disorders, thyroid issues, immune system issues, brain issues, and the like. It's not all musculoskeletal, but I'll tell you, I talked to these girls today. One of the things they're feeling right off the bat, and maybe your kids complain about a little bit, is they feel as if their spines are bruised. They sit there in that desk. They go from class to class, sit in the next desk. They sit back, push their spine against the chair, and they kind of, almost give that grimace. And for those of you parents at home, you guys have heard this before, and you've seen it on your kid's face, and you kind of go, hey, what's going on there? And they say, God, it feels like my back is sore. Well, I tell you, I saw a girl today who actually has bruises right on the spinal bones themselves. They call them those spinal processes. Those are just simply those things you can feel on the back of your spine yourself. And, she's actually bruising a little bit because as her posture is failing from a sitting position, her muscles are not doing as good of a job supporting her. And now just that light pressure of a hard seat is enough to actually create bruising that not only you can feel, but that you can see. Look, there's ways around this stuff. We will talk about them today. Dr. Aram Casparian up in about 15 minutes. We're also got just an awesome book we're going to talk about, a book written by Rosemary Wells. One of the things I've noticed as a parent now with a couple of little guys going forward is oftentimes you read a lot of these books and you say, you know what, I think these books and even to some extent some of the movies that we see out there are really written for parents and written for adults. And this is just another classic one here. My kids flat out love it. They understand the message for it. It's really a health book, but it's got some great humor in it, great illustrations. Again, Rosemary Wells is the author. The book is called The Gulps. Take a look at this book. If you don't have this book, get it for your kids. Heck, get it for yourself. There's some really wonderful lessons. We're going to kind of bounce through that book a little bit too. But I got to tell you about a funny thing that happened today. I had a lady that came in and she's come in many times, super active lady, very fit. She understands what it means to live the run. And she came in and she says, I've got some pain. And I said, well, where's the pain at? She says, well, I've got this thing. And the way she kind of referenced the phrase, she says, I think I have some ascites. And I said, ascites? In my mind, she was pronouncing a condition that some people may have heard of, which is kind of fluid that builds up in the abdomen, if you will, abdominal cavity, lungs could be too, called ascites. And I said, well, this is kind of weird. You wouldn't be coming to the chiropractor if you had. I said, what do you have again? She says, I've got some ascites. And so I said, well, repeat, where do you hurt? Point to it. So she points and she goes, "It hurts right here." And of course she points to her bum, and she was making kind of a joke, inflammation of that backside. She was having a little bit of pain in the hip, but she got me. She knew she would. We were rolling, laughing a little bit, but the reality was that she had just traveled and got into that sitting mode. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that sitting mode, how that affects those students again today. We're going to talk about kids in their backpacks going forward. Then we're going to talk about this book, a lot of different things. But hey, I wanted to bring up something else that just seems to be kind of out there. It's prevalent. A lot of people aren't sure the way to kind of take this and approach this. And that is the thought around medication. Medication, it really seems as though people are on one side of the fence or the other. They seem to take drugs. You get one person that seems to take a drug for everything. The other person says, I won't take a drug for anything. And I think that we're just a little bit off balanced there for sure. And certainly, medications are out there. They've been designed. We've had so many wonderful scientists to kind of come forward and, create some things that have saved a lot of people's lives. I see one guy that comes in and his doctor looked at him and said, "Hey, at this stage of the game, nature wants you dead. But because of some of the things they've been able to do with some medications, some procedures, they got him alive." And he's still playing tennis, and he's playing golf, and he's super thankful. And I think there needs to be a balance for sure. But one thing I wanted to point out, I've heard a lot of people who've read this book lately called The Blue Zones. This book came out a couple of years ago now. And essentially what happened is this guy went around, he went to each continent, and his interest was in the people who seemed to live the longest around the world with the least disease. And what he wanted to find out was there anything in common between the different groups? Could he make any parallels between these different folks, even though they're on different continents, different cultures, different lives, if you will? One of the things, I think he found with most of the people is that they were very active. Many of the people had spiritual lives. They had times where they prayed or they meditated. It didn't really matter what religion they were. They just had times where they had time of silence. These were pretty common things. You looked at the diets, a lot of them were real similar. People who ate a lot of fruits and vegetables, people who cultivated a lot of that themselves, those who drank a lot of water. One of the things that I found to be most interesting was that of all the groups, and it didn't matter whether it was North America, South America, Asia, Africa, that all the groups, one thing that he kind of commented on, but just kind of left by the wayside is that the longest living people with the least disease didn't take 10 medications. They weren't taking 7 medications. They weren't taking medications at all. And if they ever did, they took them acutely. They took them to get out of a situation, and then they got off. And so I think that the discussion needs to be more around, hey, can I change my lifestyle, or can I create a lifestyle that doesn't leave me vulnerable such that I've got to stay on this? I see people all the time in our clinic at the Slow Wellness Center that simply ask, when they come in and they take a medication, they say, well, what did you ask your doctor about how long to take it? And they just kind of said indefinitely, or I need to be on this for the rest of my life. Well, at 28 years old or 35 years old or even 50 years old, a lot of people find it a bit disconcerting. And so one of the aspects that we're trying to push here on Living the Run is how do you do lifestyle changes, maybe to start to help you be able to wean off these medications. Hey, look, the doctors around here are great. I see them regularly, and I hear from them regularly that they are more than willing to help people wean off some of these things and make the lifestyle changes. Of course, we see it most in things like obesity and type 2 diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, all these things that we've seen really, really nice changes when we change the lifestyles. And, I just finished seeing a guy who'd been here for 6 weeks from the UK, and he just seemed to say that the difference seemed that out there, the willingness seemed to be even more to wean yourself off the chronic use of medication, use them only more acutely in survival-based situations, and really change the lifestyle to maximize your health. I just thought it very, very interesting to take a look at the blue zones and say, hey, when you go to all these different continents, one thing that is very, very much in common is you don't see the chronic use of medication. You don't see people taking 10 medications at a time. You don't see them taking 15 medications at a time and living a long time, or living a long time without disease. It just doesn't work for the system. And so I just encourage people, continue to ask your doctors to explore these things if you're interested in changing your lifestyle, because they'll help you. They are out there to help you. They want to help you. and they want you to achieve that longevity as well, that enhanced quality of life. Good stuff. If you haven't read The Blue Zones, a fantastic book and so many nice little insights. And again, just basic fundamental physiological principles that work wherever you are. It makes me think of that documentary, Babies. Babies, such an interesting documentary. No words are said for an hour 20 minutes, whatever that movie goes. And you just had 4 babies. They took the moms from last trimester of pregnancy all the way through the first year of life for all these kids. And it was fantastic stuff. You saw that no matter where the kid was, whether it was in Asia, whether it was in North America, whether it was in Japan, I think was a third one. I think there was one in Africa too. The babies continue to hit those milestones primarily because, number one, they were loved. There was affection, there was family, and they were fed the basics. Most of them, of course, being nursed. They were able to play with siblings. They were nurtured, and environment changed a little bit, but some of the basic fundamental principles allowed those babies to flourish. So good stuff. Another documentary we recommend. Hey, but before we get Dr. Aram Casparian to come in here, talk a little backpacks, and then we'll talk this Gulps book too. Again, you're listening to Living the Run here on ESPN 1280 The Ticket. Guys, if you're just joining us for the first time, we're here every Wednesday night from 6 to 7 o'clock. Check us out on Facebook too, facebook.com/livingtherun. We'll put those podcasts up every week. If you miss anything from any of the interviews, you want to go back. Last week, Joe Thorne, Kara June, 2 fantastic athletes, probably the best husband-wife combination we've had on Living the Run. Just talking the transitions of life, married life, transitions from being an elite athlete at the University of Texas for Joe. Kara June, fantastic collegiate athlete as well, trying to make that Olympic team in the steeplechase to now having a 7-month-old baby at home. They were a lot of fun. He's transitioning over the Ironman, so we'll continue to look at him. But I wanted to make a couple notes on some local runners, some local people doing some great things, and some fans of Living the Run as well. Certainly Joe, he talked about doing this Nevada race. There's one just outside of Las Vegas, I believe. Ironman type. I think it's a half Ironman. They'll watch there. Karen Adelot, one of the great stories. If you want to go back and listen to any of our podcasts, take a listen to hers. Incredible story. Kona qualifier. She'll be in Kona this year for the full Ironman. Lost her leg in her 50s. Bad bike accident. She's come back. She is just such a strong athlete, both physically and mentally. And she's got back on the bike. She got back running. She got back swimming. Got herself qualified again for the Kona Ironman. So she'll be out there in Nevada as well. So we'll follow her. Van McCarty. One of our favorites. First slow marathon winner. Now 2 years ago here. Van, again, he's also a Kona qualifier. Just took, he was top 5 down there in Santa Barbara. I believe in a half down there as well. He was the first place in his age group, and just a fast run down there for Van. So we were concerned about Van earlier in the spring. Had to pull out of this year's slow marathon with a little hamstring deal, but it looks like Van is back and healthy, and he's he's doing some big stuff. And then one of my favorites, heartfelt congrats out to Patty Miller. You remember Patty Miller. If you missed any of her stuff as well, she set up, her and her sons came in studio, and we put in the slow all-in for Boston race, little 5K downtown, and they raised almost $10,000 for the Boston deal. Emotional story. Patty had been running in that race this last year, and I think she finished about a half hour before that bomb went off. But, it touches your life in a way that most of us just simply can't describe or quite understand, to be honest. And, Patty Miller, I just love to be around this lady. She's got a great energy. She went out there. She qualified again for Boston for next year. She will be back. It's just so bold, so solid, so spiritually strong. And she ran a great marathon this last week in Santa Rosa. I know tough conditions. Race course was a little bit different, but congrats out there to Patty Miller too. So, hey, guys, if you got local stories, in this realm of things, I was talking to a couple other people. There's some races coming up. There's always races coming up. Don't forget the City to Sea here in October. City to Sea is just another fantastic one here on the Central Coast, and one to be a participant in. Whether you're out there running, whether you're walking, whether you're just flat out supporting. One of the things Patty Miller kind of locked in for us that I just thought was so fantastic. She just talked about how deep the support was at the Boston Marathon. I mean, she talked about 10 deep for 26 miles of fans sitting out there. And so bring the support out for the City of the Sea in October. That'll be a good one, and we'll be pushing that along the way too. So, man, so many opportunities to live the run here on the Central Coast. It's just an incredible place to live. We're thankful every day. Stick with us here every Wednesday night, 6 to 7 o'clock. We'll talk health and fitness in so many different ways. We got Dr. Aram Casparian coming in next. We're going to talk some backpack safety. We're going to talk our workout today. If you missed, we talk our workout every week as well, and we had a good one today. This one was a little bit of suffering, so you're going to want to hear about this workout. There's still time out there. There's still light. Take a jog. Take a warm-up. Get the podcast on for us. Go to ESPN 1280. On the web, download us, listen to us, and get this workout in. It's for sure to create a little pain for you, but you'll be better off for it. We know that we are today, right now, as we go. So stick with us here, ESPN 1280 Ticket. I'm Rex Stevens. You are Living the Run.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Folks, when it comes to the health of my teeth, I will not compromise, and neither should you. It's time you go where my wife and I go. Go see Dr. Ryan Ross. I get it. Not everyone loves a dentist, and heck, even a few of you out there are scared to death of these offices. Bad past experiences? Well, you ever had a bad haircut? How about a bad meal somewhere? You didn't stop getting your haircut, and you certainly didn't stop eating, so stop ignoring your teeth. Dr. Ross's gentle approach, calming demeanor, and office full of upbeat staff put your dental fears to rest. Conveniently located in a great little house on Marsh Street downtown, Dr. Ross's office exudes the highest level of professionalism, mixed with an atmosphere much like your own home. Look, nobody's in a rush here. It's not a get 'em in, get 'em out atmosphere. Every time I'm in Dr. Ross's office, it's like I'm the only guy that matters. No distractions, just full focus on my oral health. If you're interested in the highest quality in dental care and want to walk out of the office every time with a smile, call Dr. Ryan Ross today, 541-5800.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Slow Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
We're back with Living the Run.
Welcome back to Living the Run. We flat out do live the run. I'll tell you somebody else who lives the run. This segment brought to you by Gardens by Gabriel. Creators of extraordinary landscapes across the Central Coast. Got a backyard that needs some serious love? We bring spaces to life with a passion for fun plants, healthy soils, and a hankering for creating the home haven. Dig us today at gardensbygabriel.com. I tell you, these guys do it up. He's helped me out so much with edible landscapes. Great to have Gardens by Gabriel as a sponsor. Let me tell you who else is bringing in this segment right now. They bring it in every week, and that is the guys over at Jaffa Cafe. When you talk Mediterranean food, we talk Jaffa Cafe. Jaffa Cafe right there now on Monterey, their new location. Beautiful place. Go see Adnan and the guys. My guest now, Dr. Aram Casparian. I tell you, we went to Jaffa Cafe today, and
that's some good stuff right there.
Jaffa Cafe, it is good, especially when you hit the workout that we hit today. I tell you, we run a great job over there at Slow Wellness Center. We have the just one of the best jobs. People trying to make those lifestyle changes. I was talking before you got here about folks that are really trying to wean off some of the chronic medications they're taking by making the lifestyle changes. And, one of the things we get to do, and I don't know how many people get to do this, but you and I, Dr. Sandy Sachs, Brandon Shepard, who used to work with us, goes out there. Our office manager, Chris Randolph, we get out there, hit up Cal Poly track, run up and look at each other and go, what are we going to do today? And we just kind of make something fitness fun. And good time out there today. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I earned my Jaffa today.
I earned my Jaffa. No question. We took, we we ran down. This was a new one for us. We ran down the stairs. Hey, let me actually go back on that because you were a little bit trailing behind us going up. But Dr. Sachs and we were running up Grand Avenue. I was kind of running up the island there. Dr. Sachs was on the sidewalk, and we were throwing a 6-pound medicine ball back and forth across the road through one time in front of a moving truck, and it was good stuff. But, we just make it fun. And, we got down those stairs today at the track, and what did we see? Lo and behold, a few cinder blocks down there.
What can you do with those?
What can you do with the cinder block? I think that was your idea, wasn't it, to, do or maybe it was a combination, little grapevine with the cinder blocks overhead?
I think that was Sandy.
So here it is, the three of us. We got 4 laps. We put in 4 laps, right? 50 meters of grapevines with a cinder block being held over your head. 50 meters of medicine ball push on one side, throwing that medicine ball. And then you jog the rest. You jog the turn. You come to the other side. Another 50 meters of cinder block, going the opposite way now. So if you went left, now you go right. And then we went to the killer.
How are you forgetting about the burpees, man? That's the centerpiece of this whole thing.
50 meters of burpees. Folks, try 50 meters of burpees and let us know. But there was some definite pain involved. And, as you said, first lap, you kind of do that first lap. You wonder, do I have 3 more laps of 50 meters of burpees in me?
And you do.
Yeah,
that's the beauty.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
When you live the run on the Central Coast, you got an extra 50 meters of burpees. So kind of a fun workout, guys. We threw that one in and had a good time. And then the dessert on that whole thing was see how fast we could get the 3 of us, just one after another, to get to 50 pull-ups, which was kind of fun. So we kind of raced through those, and that was the deal. And then a little jog home and back to work. Nothing like firing it up for an afternoon session of work.
Man, the energy level is up after something like that. People are better served.
People are better served, no question.
Yeah.
Hey, man, again, Rex Stevens, Dr. Aram Casparian in studio here on Living the Run. Again, you can always find us each and every Wednesday here from 6 to 7 o'clock. And if you miss any of it or you want to go back, just so that you can jot down like a workout like that, who wouldn't want to jot down? You got to sketch that down. And, you got to make sure wherever you go, there's cinder blocks laying around. But
your daily pain rating.
You can check us out, facebook.com/livingtherun or livingtherun.com. We'll put that podcast up for you. Hey, man, you wrote a really nice article for the Tolosa Press, our friends over there at the Tolosa Press, Brett Collier and the crew over there. And, coming into back-to-school night here for a lot of the schools in San Luis Obispo, one of the things that tends to get overlooked, and you kind of made a point about this, was we overlooked the backpack. You hit on the other things. You hit on the lunches. What did my kid eat for breakfast? Did we get enough sleep? We get the back-to-school clothes. Do they have their pens, their pencils? Is everything prepared? But sometimes we forget to do a couple of basic things with the backpacks. Talk a little bit about where you put that emphasis on that article if some of the folks missed it.
Yeah, that's right. I think we're overwhelmed a lot of times with the more basic stuff of getting your kid off to school. And then you send them off with this pack that's coming up on 25% of their body weight, and the studies are showing. Kids are carrying packs that are, 10 to 25% of their body weight. This is the equivalent of 175-pound man carrying a 40-pound pack on their back, right? There's studies that are showing that their spines aren't able to sustain it. Half of kids have back pain at 14 years of age. These are, scary statistics. Children, right?
Children with back pain. They're not supposed to go together.
It just doesn't,
yeah,
right? Yeah, that's not supposed to happen until you're 30. But the even worse than that, though, is the most recent studies. So, it's evidence-based stuff, You can't deny the evidence. And there's a study from UCSD. They did a standing MRI showing that even small loads, 18 pounds, is causing half of kids to have side bending in their back. Not just a loss of the curvature, but side bending. This is, it looks similar to scoliosis when you look at it. So big stresses on the spine that can last a whole lifetime. And we need to know about it. We're responsible. These are our children, right? So a few tips. Should I lay out some tips out there?
Lay out some tips. And I got to
to
say this, too. We're going to have a guest here. You know him. I know him. He's going to be on in a couple weeks. You're not going to want to miss this guy. He talks science with the best of them. His name's Dr. James Chestnut out of Canada. I love this guy. But you know how he signs off his emails? Because you just hit on something. You don't want to disregard the evidence. Right? When the evidence sits right in front of you, pay attention to it, right? He signs off like this. He says, healthcare should be evidence-based. In the absence of clinical evidence, we must use scientific knowledge, intellectual reasoning, and clinical experience. Above all, we must provide our care with integrity and compassion. I just think that there are going to be some things that we simply don't maybe have quite the science on. And that's okay. But when we have it, don't ignore it.
Don't deny it, yeah.
Don't ignore it.
Yeah.
Hit the tips on the backpacks.
Yeah, so backpacks. Okay, your children are going to be required to carry heavy loads. It's going to be important that those loads aren't far away from their spine, okay? That they're holding them up above their back, above their pelvis. Shouldn't be more than 4 inches below. You want to lessen that load as much as possible, so smaller backpacks are actually better. A lot of people are heading out with basically these giant sport packs, and the tendency is to want to fill it, right? And the biggest one, this has probably been the most helpful tip, is just carry less books, right? But how do you do that? You have to have the books for school. So getting a second set. Half.com, similar websites to this, have been instrumental in that. You can get really cheap books, and other people want them when you're done. So they'll buy those things back from you. Then your kid isn't having to tote it back and forth. They have a set for school. They leave it in the locker. They leave it in the classroom. They have another set at home.
Yeah, I think so. And I'll tell you, we're at the Slow Wellness Center. Obviously, we're doing some chiropractic, and we're doing acupuncture. We're doing massage. We're doing some of these basic things. And one of the things I found, and I know you have too, is that in kids, you can make simple corrections very quickly most of the time. It's adults that have had the long-standing chronic issues that often take more time. But I think people don't realize that so oftentimes a quick adjustment in the pelvis, spinal adjustment to correct some of these curvatures makes a huge, huge difference. I saw a girl on her way to Princeton tonight. Great kid from this area. And, I was dumbfounded. I thought, God, I missed out in college on this. They're doing out at Princeton. They're taking these kids before they start college on a backpacking trip. It's a wonderful chance to integrate, to just kind of get out, to de-stress, to meet people. Really cool stuff. But I tell you, she brought in a backpack, and she could tell by putting the backpack on that it wasn't sitting on her hips level. And that's how she knew she was out of alignment. Track athlete, very, very good kid, in tune with their body. But with the backpack, putting the backpack back on after getting adjusted and then being able to say, hey, look, now the hips feel level, the spine is back, I'm even, I'm symmetrical. We won't start getting what I think is very scary that you mentioned, that right to left tilt that's as scary as anything. I think a lot of us see that forward tilt, but the right to left tilt is no good in these cases and needs to be corrected quickly.
That was the scariest thing to me as well. That's really just a sign that the whole structure is buckling under these loads, And those are loads as low as 18 pounds. So that's really, the other part is who's going to measure the actual weight of the backpack, but it's 10%. That's the maximum that you want in your kid. You know, that's pretty small. If your kid's weighing 75 pounds, that's a small backpack. You know, you can't have them carrying more.
Yeah, it shouldn't be loaded up. Hey, good stuff. We'll come back. We're going to talk a little bit more backpacks. We're going to talk this great book, one of my favorite health kid books out there, but it's really an adult book. It always is, called The Gulps. Again, story by Rosemary Wells, illustrated by Mark Brown. This is a fantastic book. You're going to want to hear about this. More on backpacks as well, how we can prevent some of these really, it just seems utterly ridiculous that we could be talking kids and back pain. They just don't go together. It should be an oxymoron. Let's help make it an oxymoron. We're doing that here tonight on Living the Run. Stick with us.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Folks, when it comes to the health of my teeth, I will not compromise, and neither should you. It's time you go where my wife and I go. Go see Dr. Ryan Ross. I get it. Not everyone loves a dentist, and heck, even a few of you out there are scared to death of these offices. Bad past experiences? Well, you ever had a bad haircut? How about a bad meal somewhere? You didn't stop getting your haircut, and you certainly didn't stop eating, so stop ignoring your teeth. Dr. Ross's gentle approach, calming demeanor, and office full of upbeat staff puts your dental fears to rest. Conveniently located in a great little house on Marsh Street downtown, Dr. Ross's office exudes the highest level of professionalism, mixed with an atmosphere much like your own home. Look, nobody's in a rush here. It's not a get 'em in, get 'em out atmosphere. Every time I'm in Dr. Ross's office, it's like I'm the only guy that matters. No distractions, just full focus on my oral health. If you're interested in the highest quality in dental care and want to walk out of the office every time with a smile, call Dr. Ryan Ross today, 541-5800.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the SLO Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
We're back with Living the Run.
This segment brought to you by one of our latest sponsors, Team Swayze. Hal Swayze and the gang, #1 realtors in SLO. Your average realtor would be elated to close a deal a month for the year. Team Swayze on pace to close over 10 a month, 120 a year. They've been doing it every year. When it comes to the best of the best in the real estate world, you won't have to ask many people before the trend becomes obvious. The answer always seems to be Hal Swayze. If you're looking for a realtor, want a second opinion, or simply want to be more educated on your home or neighborhood, call Team Swayze today, 805-781-3750, or visit them at teamswayze.com. Yeah, Hal's just an awesome guy. We talked sitting versus standing not too long ago. In studio with me right now, Dr. Aram Casparian. We're talking backpacks. Hey, I wanted to say this too. One of the things out there, we had somebody ask me the other day, say, why are you guys doing those workouts? I mean, why would you go pick up a cinder block? Why would you go out to the track? What are you training for? I've always said, you never mistake longevity training for performance, right? And I just kind of looked at him and said, I got one life, I'm training for longevity. I'm training for my life. And what we said going into it today, hey, when we finished today, felt better, brain activity was up, heart felt better, muscles felt better. You just kind of got a sense that, hey, I've got some juice now as a result of doing that. That's longevity training, and it's good stuff.
On every level. It's, it's self-reinforcing. Sometimes it's hard to get over that hump, but man, I always feel better.
Yeah, always feel better. I tell you, one thing that is so good, and we were saying earlier in the show, oftentimes, you have kids and you start reading these books to them and you find out that the author was really writing to adults. It's just kind of how it is. And this book, folks, if you have not gotten this book, you've got to get this book, whether you're an adult with kids at home, whether you don't have kids. This is a really great little book called The Gulps. And, here's this family. They're all overweight except for one, right? So 2 parents, 3 kids. Everybody's overweight except for one. They love to eat fast food. They love to eat all the processed foods. The one daughter loves the vegetables and fruits. And, they're driving along in their motorhome, and the motorhome stops, along the way. They think it's because they got a flat tire, but reality is they just got to the point where they all weigh too much. The vehicle just simply won't move anymore. And
looking at this cover, I can see why that happened.
It's so good because, they just happen to serendipitously stop in front of a farm. Farmer comes out, says, hey, we need some work on the barn. We're ready to pick some vegetables and fruits. At first, the Gulps, they don't even recognize the food. They don't think it tastes that good. They can't even climb a ladder. I saw somebody just yesterday. I'm trying to get her to do 5 minutes on a stationary bike with no resistance, and she came in and said, hey, I got a minute and a half. I mean, sometimes things get rough. We get it. But it doesn't mean that a minute and a half wasn't better than no minutes the day before.
It's about that positive slope, right?
About that positive slope. Doing something. And so the Gulps got doing something. They started losing weight, able to get back into the motorhome, and lo and behold, motorhome was cranking again. It even got up a hill, much like the grade here in San Luis Obispo. Got going. It's literature like this that goes a long way, and my kids get it. They know the moral of the story. They love the pictures, and good adult kid book, if you will, in these trying times. Hey, we were talking. What are some of the signs when we talk about backpacks, giving people problems? It's certainly the junior high tests. I know they do these scoliotic tests and so forth. We got to catch these things even before that. We don't want to wait till junior high. What are we seeing? What are the signs that maybe some parents can look for outside of the tips you already gave on how to kind of take some of the weight out of the backpack, how to kind of get it above the hips a little bit, how to keep it on both shoulders, not on just one shoulder? What are some of the things that they can look for in their kids that may be indicators that their child is maybe suffering a little bit from some back pain or some neck pain as a result?
Yeah, let me address it first, too, that, those scoliosis tests, they're pretty limited. So it doesn't necessarily mean that your kid is being screened for something, and the tips
what you're
are usually
saying is it could be missed.
The tips are your shoulders lower on this side, put the backpack on the other side, right?
No question.
And you're good. But what you'd be looking for is I don't know, it's like mule syndrome, You're looking for a kid, he's leaning forward, head is forward, the shoulders are straining against this backpack. This is the extreme situation, right?
Yeah, extreme.
But I see it all the time, and you're remiss not to say something about it, but, what can these kids do? They're just doing what their implied job,
Yeah, no question. I think it's great. We got some of that postural software where we can take pictures, of these kids. And one of the suggestions I've had, it's been good, and I don't know if you use this, is getting kids to stand with 2 feet close together, which of course challenges their balance a little bit, and then have them close their eyes. Because when they close their eyes, they're forced to use that musculoskeletal system a little bit more, right?
Right.
As soon as they do that, you can start to see those postural distortions come out. Now all of a sudden they start leaning right. They start leaning left. shoulders start making compensations, head starts tilting, and now all of a sudden something that maybe isn't as obvious when their eyes are open and they're walking in a normal stance becomes a little bit more obvious.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good one. You're relying on the information coming from your joints rather than what your eyes are telling you, and it brings out all of the imbalance in your body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. But thanks, man, for coming in, and thanks for writing that article too. You know, for those that don't read the Telosa Press, go and take a look at that article, quoting a couple of nice evidence-based pieces of science, and you know, they don't lie. It is what it is. You know, our 8-year-olds. I just got a text from a listener who says my backpack was 50 pounds by junior high. Well, check it out. I wrestled 90 pounds in junior high. That means it would have been, you know, more than 50% of my weight, right? You're looking at 60. It's no good on a developing spine.
It's a backbreaker on my spine. You know?
Hey, what do we got next Wednesday? Have you dreamed up anything new in the time that we had that workout today? What we're going to do on the next one, either Monday or Wednesday next week? What are we going to throw in the mix?
You know what? I passed by some railroad ties on the way over here. I'm thinking we can incorporate those. We can medicine balls. I'll think up something.
Yeah, we'll
have
something.
a good time.
Good stuff. As always here on Living the Run. Thanks to Dr. Aram Casparian.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We will be back to wrap up the show. Tips and takeaways, as always, and give you kind of a sense of what's coming up in the next few weeks. We got some exciting guests, authors, scientists. Good stuff going forward. And we always looking to hear from you on what are the races on the calendar. We want to update the listeners. We want to get people involved. Again, whether they're competing or whether they're spectating, we got to get up. It's the only way to truly live the run. We'll wrap up the show in moments right here on ESPN 1280, The Ticket.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Folks, when it comes to the health of my teeth, I will not compromise, and neither should you. It's time you go where my wife and I go. Go see Dr. Ryan Ross. I get it. Not everyone loves a dentist, and heck, even a few of you out there are scared to death of these offices. Bad past experiences? Well, you ever had a bad haircut? How about a bad meal somewhere? You didn't stop getting your haircut, and you certainly didn't stop eating, so stop ignoring your teeth. Dr. Ross's gentle approach, calming demeanor, and office full of upbeat staff put your dental fears to rest. Conveniently located in a great little house on Marsh Street downtown, Dr. Ross's office exudes the highest level of professionalism, mixed with an atmosphere much like your own home. Look, nobody's in a rush here. It's not a get 'em in, get 'em out atmosphere. Every time I'm in Dr. Ross's office, it's like I'm the only guy that matters. No distractions, just full focus on my oral health. If you're interested in the highest quality in dental care and want to walk out of the office every time with a smile, call Dr. Ryan Ross today, 541-5800.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the SLO Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
We're back with Living the Run.
Good stuff, as always, here on Living the Run. Again, you miss any of our interviews, any of our talk, any of our crazy workouts that we throw out there, check us out on livingtherun.com or on Facebook. Join us, like our page, and go on there, listen to that podcast, write down the workouts. And, almost every week we got Virginia Merrim of Vert Foods. She comes on as well and leaves you with just a brilliant recipe to kind of attack some of that nutrition side of things. We've talked a lot about movement today, talking backpacks with our kids, talking movement ourselves, and just kind of what that does to the body. And the reality is it recharges it. There's nothing more really needs to be said. Get out, get moving. Doesn't need to be competition. Cooperation is just fine. In fact, it probably works a little bit better. Get out there, find a friend. I love these Fitbits out there right now. It's just getting people to get other people, whether it's family, relatives around the country, around the world, other office employees. You kind of get it on. You motivate one another. You can see it right there on the computer, who's doing what, and it gets you active. And the reality is that when people do that, I've never heard anybody say, I wish I hadn't moved today. Wish I would have moved less. Wish I would have been less active. Sure would feel a lot better. Nobody says that. It doesn't happen. It never will happen. As long as this human species has been around, it moves. Human genome's not changing, folks. We're going to have a great guest on that in a few months, talking genes and kind of some of the misunderstandings around that. But these genes require activity. They require movement to allow themselves to give cellular programs that function at the level that we need it. There's just no arguing it. And so that sedentary lifestyle is rough for us. Pay attention to your kids. We can make changes now. We can set up standing desks at home when they come home to do their homework. We can do, as Dr. Aram Casparian had just told you, change the way in which we approach their backpacks. Pull out some weight. Change the fitting on them. If they need to get checked for any kind of scoliotic curves or postural distortions or listings of their spine, get them in immediately. Kids will change and metamorphosize very quickly. That's what's kind of so cool about them. Love that a lot. Hey, I got to share this. One of my favorite guys. We get this guy on Living the Run. We've reached the pinnacle, I think. I don't know. I love Greg Braden. Those of you guys have ever read Greg Braden, heard any of his stuff on documentaries, he's fantastic. YouTube this guy. Listen to some of his stuff that's on there. He's really super insightful. Science mind, bringing in philosophy, bringing in what's real. Guy has just been all over the world observing different cultures and made some really nice deductions for some of that longevity that we were talking about earlier. But I love his post the other day. Said 3 simple rules in life. Number 1, if you do not go after what you want, you'll never have it. Seems pretty simple, but I can't tell you how many people I see routinely that are just going through the mundane of life, going through the same regular schedule over and over, have these ideas in their head of what they think the blueprint should look like, but the actions never reflect what the blueprint looks like. And therefore, they don't go after it, and therefore, they don't have it. Number 2, if you do not ask, the answer will always be no. That's an interesting concept. It kind of gets one out there in the spiritual realm a little bit. Biblical principles, other holy books, talk this same thing. But, you have to ask. We talked about this earlier. Again, we talked about it revolving around medications. I think, and it just seems to be here. Again, I shared the story with a patient I saw from the UK. I saw one from Australia that shared the same thing. They talk to their doctors about weaning off some of these medications they don't want to be on for life. They'd like to make the lifestyle changes. But if you don't ask, you can't expect that they're going to read your mind. They just simply won't. And so you have to ask and set up a plan to make some of those health life decisions. Find folks that will help you along the line, a fitness coach, a nutrition coach. If it's your medical doctor, whoever it is, your wellness practitioner, find them, talk to them about it, and set up a plan. Don't talk about it, nothing's going to happen. The last one is, if you do not step forward, you will always be in the same place. And, these are so simple but so powerful. And sometimes, and we see it fairly routinely, the idea of change is just paralyzing. It just creates a static nature among us. We don't end up going anywhere, and we just kind of stay in the same place. We just can't get that step forward, that one step forward. I got to talk about this, and one of the last people I saw today in our chiropractic clinic was a lady who sent her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law had just had a little bit of a fall, and they gave her a walker. She'd been having some balance issues, 85 years old, and after being on the walker for about a month, she started experiencing some upper back pain and some neck pain. Well, what a surprise. She was using a walker that her 6'3" husband had. She's 5'5". They never adjusted the walker. Well, the problem is she went into the medical doctor. Medical doctor didn't know this at the time. There was zero communication. So again, rule number 2, if you do not ask, the answer will always be no. She never talked about the size of the walker. She just said she had back and neck pain. So what they prescribed, Vicodin and muscle relaxants. The lady just needed an adjustment on her walker so that her posture would be more appropriated. They did do this for her, which ended up okay. Some people discovered it later. But again, we have to communicate a little bit better. We need to lay it all out there because people can't read your mind. People don't know that you're using a walker that your husband had. They don't know that you hadn't been fitted. We see that on bicycles all the time. We see that in shoe fitting. We see that all over the place. So, ask, and we want to make forward steps. And now this lady, neck pain and back pain going away. She'll get her balance back. She'll get to a cane. She'll get to walking, and she'll make those steps forward that she's looking to do. Folks, don't forget, coming up next, we get the CJ Silas Show. She's got head football coach in studio, Tim Walsh from your Cal Poly Mustangs. Good interview. And CJ's back, maybe she will talk about that vacation and what it did for her wellness. And then just maybe, I don't know if she's going to take any callers in today, but talk to her about that massage too. She comes back from vacation. She's got the wellness vacation, immediately goes to the massage. Props to Michelle over there at Avila Bay Club. But CJ's doing it up. She's taking care of herself. She's keeping that prevention model going. She's going to have a great show. I know she's refreshed to come back here from 7 to 8. And then don't forget, Bobby and Alex on the Slow Late Show tonight at 10 o'clock. Hey, guys, a couple of great guests lined up. You're not going to want to miss this. Just got a message from Dr. Brandon Brock out in Dallas. You guys loved this guy last year. We talked some concussions. It's back in the news. We're going to hit him up again in just a couple of weeks, so stay with us. A bunch of guests on the horizon. Next week, Dr. Ryan Ross, sponsor here. We're going to talk inflammation, the mouth, and how it relates to your overall health. Again, thanks to my guest, Dr. Aram Casparian, chiropractor, with us at the Slow Wellness Center. Talking backpack safety, folks. It's something you're not going to want to take for granted with your young kids. As we say always on this show, live healthy, folks. Live bold. Each week, come with us and live the run.